Okay, so it's July 10th. We just got off of work. We're here for an advanced screening of the movie Stuber, the new comedy featuring Kumail Nanjani and our boy Dave Bautista, otherwise probably known as Drax the Destroyer in the Guardians of the Galaxy series. Kind of doing his own new thing in this new comedy here. I personally don't think it looks like anything to write home about, but I could be proven wrong. I like to be surprised. No one wants to see a bad movie here, and my name is Josh Onimus
Shawn Kelley.
And this is the Variant Verdict.
Let's see if Bautista's comedy can expand outside of Drax.
Yeah. You're watching the Variant Verdict with Josh Onimus.
Shawn Kelley.
And this is episode 1. And the first movie we are doing tonight is the 2019 action comedy Stuber. Starring Kumail Nanjani and everyone's favorite wrestler turned actor, Dave Bautista.
Favorite? But yeah, go ahead.
This movie is described as a detective that recruits a Uber driver and they go on to an unexpected adventure. Pretty plain, pretty simple. You've heard this premise before. What were your initial reactions walking out of this one?
You kind of just summed it up right then. Very plain, very simple. I left this movie not thinking, wow, like there's no real twist. I saw everything coming a mile away. But ultimately, what was your initial reaction?
I felt like I love a lot of action movies. I love the new John Wicks. I think they're doing a lot of original stuff with action and choreography and kind of mixing up the genre. This added nothing to it. I think that they stuck the landing with some of the actual action moments, but as a whole, it didn't add much to it to me.
Not at all.
Not for me. As far as the people involved with the film, I know you're a huge wrestling fan. How did you feel about Dave Bautista and his first real leading man role since Guardians?
A lot different from Drax, I can tell you that much. And this time I've noticed that one thing I gotta state right off the bat is they did not explain in the trailers, they did not explain in anything leading into this movie that Bautista is blind. Pretty much. He just got LASIK surgery and blind throughout the whole thing. So that went right over my head in any of the previews. So going into that, you'll notice that this is a completely different type of comedy for Bautista. So instead of it being like deadpan, I'm going to just give a blank reaction to something so stupid it's hilarious, it's a lot more physical comedy. It's a lot more like, I hate to put it, Mr. Magoo. A lot more bumping around, hitting things, And one thing, he actually needs Kumail to help him. It's not like he's just his ride. He actually is somewhat his eyes too. So
yeah, he becomes a driver and then an aide kind of later on
exactly
to the character throughout the film.
As far as that, completely different from Drax, but it's also a different type of comedy. Can't necessarily say that it was bad. Nah, I'm gonna go with Drax was better, but it's something new. But it's at the same time. What did you think of Kumail?
As far as Kumail goes, and by the way, Dave Bautista, I think you nailed it. It's exactly how I feel. I think that's pretty spot on. Kumail Nanjani, I think he's been doing a lot of great work lately. The Big Sick was really great film. I think that was 2016, maybe 17. Could be wrong. I have to do the looking in that. And he did great. He wrote one of the best original screenplays that year. One of my favorite films that year. And he also starred in the recent reboot by Jordan Peele of The Twilight Zone. And I believe it was a pilot episode. And again, he turned in a terrific performance. So I was kind of going expecting a little bit more from him. And, he kind of gets typecasted in these weird situations where he's dating a woman that he feels inferior to.
Again.
He's got to prove himself to her.
Again.
He's kind of concerned about he's a Middle Eastern, he's a little awkward, he's concerned that maybe she's just, he's not good enough for her. She wants a good buff American guy, which is quite literally a point of contention in the film.
Okay.
That he's competing with, a big stereotypical American buff guy, and he's Kumail Nanjani, and what he looks like. So that's his thing, So, as far as that goes, I can't add a whole lot to that. I mean, he didn't do much to shake up the role. I wish he really should have with his newer stuff. And was there anything for you that stood out for you, like any major scenes?
Well, there was one, and this was a pro slash con, I would say, of the movie, and that was his initial when he was blind. Like when after he got his LASIK surgery, and he gets the call being like, "The drop is tonight," and he's got to freak out and get there. He's that initial Mr. Magoo bumping into everything, trying to drive his car as a blind guy and everything. It was good. Like I actually caught myself laughing pretty hard at that scene, so that was one that I would say did stand out. But it also falls into where that comedy got old quick. But before that, like what other scenes maybe stuck out for you?
I think, and here's my answer. There wasn't any, as weird as it sounds, scenes. I think it was just a culmination of an arc that takes place with Kumail and Nanjani, where he starts off as, and this is again a trope that you see in a lot of movies. He starts off as kind of a nice guy, evolves into more of a badass as he realizes he's more empowered than he thought he was originally. But that arc kind of takes him to a place where it culminates into I would say, a pretty fucking interesting fight with Dave Bautista. So if you could picture the two of them scrapping it out.
Yeah, sorry for the spoilers, but at the same time, there is a fight in this movie.
That's why these are our favorite scenes. We might spoil something a little bit
here.
There
is a fight in this movie between Bautista and Kumail, and there is times where I felt the hits. I'm not gonna lie. Like it looked like it.
The action is a point of contention. They make no bugs about it, and that scene's just it. That's why I say it's a standout scene. It wasn't an absolute mind blower, but it culminates because it built up to it just enough where it was earned.
Now, how about the action in general? Because I thought this was going to be more of a comedy than an action. But what do you think of the action compared?
Well, that's the one thing that surprised me, that I think they really stuck the landing on the action. When I saw the trailers, I saw it viewed as kind of a slapsticky, laughing kind of movie. But the parts where it really takes it there, whether it's a car chase, whether it's an impalement or an action hand-to-hand combat scene, I mean, it looks brutal, feels real, it sounds real. The dedication that's there. The person involved, the people involved in making this movie care about the craft, the genre. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to change anyone's opinion who's a huge action fan. It's not the new Die Hard. But again, I appreciate what it's.
A lot of headshots, a lot of more headshots.
Oh yeah, and some really cool practical effects. Even that was an interesting thing they did there, and maybe that was kind of an homage to that style of Lethal Weapon and
exactly
just over the top crazy action films.
Yeah, which I mean, actually, if anything, I was gonna say, they almost tried pulling that partner, unexpected partnership again. And
I don't want to go too far into that, but I will say this. When it comes to the partnership, the chemistry, it is not even close to Lethal Weapon level.
No,
it just very comes in bursts. They work together well, but aside from that, it's probably not going to warrant a sequel. Let's just finish this with saying the things I liked about this movie. Bottom line, its commitment to the action. That's about the best thing it had going for it. It's an action film through and through, and where it tried to do it, it pulls it off well. Comedy falls so flat. Some of the subplots involving the girl are completely unnecessary. They're uninteresting, and it's nothing Kumail and Nanjani's not been attracted to as far as his projects go over the last 5 years. I'm done. I don't want to see anymore.
Yeah. Can we actually have a different type of role? Maybe just throw something. I guess you can say, "Ooh, Men in Black was different." It's the same tones, it's the same character, it's the same delivery, everything's the same. But as far as say pros and cons for me, where you saw it as just the comedy was dead flat, I thought the comedy started good, the initial bits you were getting, but it was used again and again. How many times are we going to see Dave Bautista run into something? So it fell weaker and weaker, and then it became flat for me. I enjoyed it initially, but it did not last. And
I completely agree with you.
And I do agree with you with the action, though. The action was better, except one complaint that I do have, which I don't know if maybe because he's a wrestler, so we're going to do this because they do it for wrestling. Every time there's a punch, every time there's a struggle, we don't need the camera to shake like the cameraman's having a seizure. I don't know if that's an artistic thing. I find it distracting.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite directing choice.
No, that was driving me nuts after a while. I was like, can I get a still shot? I get we're not getting John Wick, We're not getting that action. That's fine. I'd like to see it.
Which is
better,
kind of
though.
sad because I love that
Yeah,
movie.
I love to see that. I'd like to see the action.
Well, let me
better.
ask you, at the end of the day, someone says to you, Sean, should I go see Stuber this weekend? What would you say? What would you recommend it?
I'm gonna actually have to go with no. So my verdict is thumbs down.
I'm going to go with the most ignorant answer. I'm going to go see Midsummer. That's probably a way better movie than Stuber. I haven't seen it. I've just heard a lot of good things. But I imagine Stuber's a good... It's going to be a good break from the other summer blockbusters that are out there. If you're sick of the Pikachus, you're sick of the Avengers, you're sick of the Spider-Mans, it may be a nice, refreshing take. Other than that, there's plenty of better movies to spend your money on. Go have fun. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Have a good one.